Yo, what's up? It's your boy Casino. Bright and early. Bright and early. Take him off. Teddy P, baby. The tragedy of Teddy P. Teddy Pendergrass. Teddy Pendergrass was like playing in my house 24/7. He was so relative that the older people listened to Teddy. Like my grandparents listened to Teddy and my parents listened to Teddy. So it was an entirely different genre. You know how sometimes they be like, oh man, that's too old, man. No, it was different. So if anybody told you anything other than, they just didn't know. Now I'm gonna premiere this early on the Patreon, so the Patreons will get it first, and then you guys will receive it here on Casino for Life. Either which way, you both get it. So hopefully y'all enjoy it. Get some information on it. Things you didn't know about. Things you might know about. It is what it is. Now, people had to realize something. In Philadelphia, the soul music scene was a powerful institution. You know, you had Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. You know, you had many different bands that came out of there. The Delphonics, even Hall and Oates. Philly was a music town, you know, and it also was a different kind of town. Meaning that a lot of different factions ran the organization behind the scenes of music. Not the people you saw with the record companies and all that. On all sides, behind all of it was mob related, mafia, and in Philadelphia, most of the mob was ran by African Americans in the mob. They had their own mob, their own faction, and they ran it how they seen fit. Now, if you from Philly, you are well versed in what's happening and what happened in that faction. There were a lot of brothers who were put in this category who may not have been. And a lot of people knew that some of the members had turned to the Nation of Islam. Not all, but it doesn't mean they stopped activities. It's just that their faith had realigned. Now, when people were starting out their music careers, most artists, 95% of them, do not have money. Okay, let me start off right away. They don't have money. So, when you don't have money, You compromise yourself sometimes just to be successful. Teddy Pendergrass was what you would call a person who was broke, looking to get into this music game and be successful. And he's born and raised near Philly. So right away, he started, starting his career out singing with, what was it? He was in a group called the Cadillacs or something. Then he ended up with Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. That's where I know him from, and probably the rest of the world. Because I swear, I heard as a little kid every day, wake up everybody, ain't no sleeping today. That was like the theme music for me to have to get up to go to school. Wake up everybody was played more than anything I've ever heard as a child in my household. They would play it on purpose to get me up for school. Wake up, everybody, ain't no sleeping today. So, I had a neighbor, Mr. Eccles, man. He played that song every time. It's crazy because back in those days, it was record players and stuff, and they play it like theme music. They like, uh-oh, he coming over, play his music. And they'll play the song as he's coming through the door. And he loves to hear it too. Hey, that's my song, that's my jam. Wake up, everybody, ain't no sleeping today. It was crazy how they did things back in the day. so, so anyway, did somebody ring my bell? I don't think so. Okay. Well, anyway, things got crazy because at that point, Harold was ripping the guys off basically. The Blue Notes was making blue cents compared to what Harold Melvin was making. And Teddy was the one that was really blowing everybody away. And everybody kept thinking Teddy Pendergrass was Harold Melvin. People who didn't know him outside of Philly didn't know. They was like, hey, that Harold Melvin? No, that's not him. So he wasn't liking the split. And he definitely didn't like the fact how Hal let him see all this money he had and told him, look, I'll give you a raise, but just you. Nobody else. Stay with me, I'll give you a little bit of a raise. So Teddy thought the group should be called Teddy Pendergrass and the Blue Notes at this point, so because they weren't getting along. So when they weren't getting along, things is just going left. You had to understand that his whole career was marred by this. Like it was a situation where he felt, I gotta do me. Everybody loves Teddy, but I can't grow being behind Harold. They actually had an album where it says featuring Theodore Pendergrass. He wasn't even Teddy then. He was Theodore Pendergrass. Now, Oh man, sorry about that. I had to yawn. But anyway, going through this transition, he wanted to get out. So, word around the campfire is that the black mafia that was ran in Philly was going to help acquire this. They loved Teddy. Teddy was one of them. Teddy loved to hang out at the bars and the lounges with the women, doing drugs, the whole nine. So Teddy was one of them. And Teddy was from Philly. He's from there. Kick it with all these people. So all of a sudden, there is friction between everybody involved, all the members, everything. There's friction. For like one of the first times ever, everybody is not happy. They're not on the same page. It's just drama. Because Teddy is ready to go out, but even the black mob don't have the type of backing that Teddy would need to get going, so they need somebody who got some money, liquid, legal money to make this thing, stick and have some type of pull. So Teddy's trying to lean on, his connections to try to find someone to get him to the right person. So Dionne Warwick, who was a friend of Nancy Wilson, and then you had what's her name? That Miss Piatto, that Diet Cola person. So they call her Taz. That was her name. Her name is Tasmaya Melanie Lang. They called her Taz. Everybody called her Taz Lang. And Taz, she was like gorgeous. Gorgeous woman, very smart business woman. She had a lot of pull with celebrities, business connections. She managed football players. She was married to a guy who played for the Philadelphia Eagles. Uh, but I think she managed him too for a while. And Teddy had heard about Taz and wanted Taz to help her and manage his career as he got, he needed basically financing. He needed somebody that could back him in his ordeal. And to do that, he started dating Taz. That was his girlfriend. Then, Teddy did it. Teddy did it the smooth way he knows how to woo the women. Teddy would woo him, get what he wants, and he was sleeping on the couch for a minute in our house. Then he was in her bed, staying at Taz's place. It was her house. She's dating Teddy, going out, doing all these different things. So she draw up a contract that they agreed upon. She would get 10% of his company that he comes out with. A royalty. She gets 10% of royalty on his first album, and he gets like $13,000 or so in advance. And she'd get some type of percentage on whatever down the road, and he agreed. And the contract comes back, and it's not the same. and he had already signed it, but I guess he figured out something was wrong in the writings of the contract, but the deal was already done. She not only gets ownership or royalties in this first album, she gets it for every album down the road. She's getting 10% off everything. Teddy was like, no, 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 just the first album. Once I get on my feet, like, that's it. I don't need you eating off me no more. And she's looking like that's not how it goes. Like, why would I do that? Why would I even do the deal? Just to give you the money so you can give it to me back? Well, then what do I get out of it? She's thinking like business, like a businesswoman. You're an investment, and she's investing in Teddy. And Teddy, like, look, I don't want you investing in me for past my first album. So now the relationship is strained. Teddy is like, now he's kind of mad. He's got an attitude, and so they just like went to just being business partners. Now, Teddy's unhappy, and his album hasn't even come out yet. So when Teddy's recording these songs on his debut album, everybody is out there, and they could sense like, man, what's wrong, Teddy? Teddy Pendergrass is not a happy individual. And you can listen to the lyrics of the song, I Don't Love You Anymore. His lead single off the album. Somebody told me I don't love you anymore. Right? Whole town laughing at me. The more I get, the more I want. You can't hide from yourself. So you start thinking back to that first Teddy album. Because before that album came out, Teddy was out of town conveniently. A guy named JoJo came in there. He from B-More, man. He was always hanging around Sammy Davis Jr. and all those guys. And he was like the roadie. He was the guy who was funny and always around. And Sammy Davis Jr. wanted to hire him. He just thought he was joking. But he hired somebody else and realized he blew an opportunity to make a lot of money. But JoJo was working for Teddy. And during that time, Teddy, tell him what to do and everything. So his job was to drive Taz around. And Taz went, I think she went shopping and stuff. He pulls up the car to the house. Taz steps out of the car. A man comes out of the bushes, fires one shot in her chest, killing her instantly. She was 31 years old. Now, once this happens, the guy runs off. Teddy's out of town, and all kind of different things take place. Um, JoJo tells Teddy what happened, and what jarred him is Teddy's response to finding out. This is the first time he found out she's, gone. JoJo found it very weird that Teddy was not remorseful. He sounded pretty much relieved more than, like, oh my God. It was like, oh Oh man, that's bad. Like didn't care. And that made JoJo even more uncomfortable. As Teddy sung at her funeral, telling everybody this was the love of his life. Celebrities, other people who know better. Jesse Jackson did the eulogy, and he basically, everybody, her side of the family, they all looked at Teddy Pendergrass and they looked at him as a no good thug and said it was those hooligans that he hang with. Because when he was with Taz, she had him not drinking, no drugs. Like if you're gonna drink, it's gonna be minimum. You ain't gonna be getting drunk. There's not gonna be hooligans around. She was strict. Was running a. If I'm gonna represent you, you got to be representable. So now with her out of the way, Teddy can do what he want to do. He didn't need no help from anybody else. Now he up there with Gamble and Huff, and they was gonna make sure things was gonna go the way it was supposed to go. Now everybody insinuated, but you knew what time it was. And Teddy's album comes out. She's basically eliminated out of the deal now. His contract with her is null and void, and Teddy's able to go about living his life. And boy, did Teddy live. His debut album comes out, it makes some noise, and in time, people started to warm up to him. His first album that came out, people were still kind of, like not really wanting to deal with Teddy because they thought of what happened. So, he had the chip at the ice. So, the second release is what did it. The second album is really what did it. With the Close the Door, all those songs. By this time, people have totally forgotten about Taz. They've moved on from that. He did his interview with Jet Magazine, Ebony, and all that, and gave his accounts of I'm not gonna let that hold me down. Now, at this time, Teddy is riding a wave. The party's going on. All the boys in the black Philadelphia Mafia is eating well. They partying with Teddy. Good times are here again. Then karma. Karma always comes back to get you. You play with fire, eventually that fire's gonna burn you. JoJo had left, like right when the album happened. Like he left Teddy and had to get away because he did not believe Teddy's innocence and what had happened with Taz. So he had to get unassociated. I think he went to work with the OJs or something. But he was like, I'll work with another group. I can't work with Teddy. That's out. Because, that happened in front of him. He had to witness that, and he didn't want to be a part of something like that in his circle. Now, with all these insinuations going on, Teddy is living a good life. And so is everybody else. And now Teddy's like, man, all right, I'm ready to do some other things and open up. more and go into this whole nother venture. So they're seeing Teddy with all this stuff, and they're like, wait a minute, Teddy's making a lot of money here. Like over the years, Teddy is banking and banking and banking. Now, Teddy's coming up to a contract renegotiation with the Philadelphia International, which Teddy wants more of a structured deal where it's more of a partnership, not an extended long contract where he signed for like 25 albums. So Teddy is ready in this renegotiation and this re-up in the contract. And he's like, okay, let's move forward, you know, with getting things done. And they couldn't come to an agreement. I'm trying to do this in the right way because this is going to be on YouTube as well. Patreon. um, Friction started. They started to believe Teddy was getting too much. They're seeing his big luxurious home. He got everything, and a lot of people started to feel a little like, man, why am I sitting here in this damn Philly on this block? This damn stove ain't working. My man Teddy's got this big $1 million house. Like all those rooms. I could live in one of them. So people started to get a little envious. And as Teddy is blowing up, he's writing for other people. We got other people working with him. And this is an album that he did in 1980 that he did not want any involvement as he was going through his renegotiation with Philadelphia International. Teddy told you, the more the more I get, the more I want. That's how Teddy moved. So Teddy Pendergrass decided to end his relationship with Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff. They owned the Philadelphia International. So when he decided to end that relationship with them, that caused a thing where Teddy was just operating with the company, but they would no longer give him input. So the renegotiations, all of these things start to, go cold. And it was looking like Teddy's just going to serve out the rest of his contract, right? And then probably leave and go to another label. So now, Teddy had recorded so I think he was working on his last album, and before that happened, he was driving a Maserati. He had a Maserati, and he had that green and gold. Uh, I think that was a Mercedes. He had that green and gold one, the one that crashed. But his Maserati brakes had went out. And he had crashed that just about 2 weeks prior from his major accident. Now, what are the odds that the brakes go out twice on two different cars? So while he's driving, he picks up a girl, of course. We all find out she was trans at the time, or going through it. And as they're driving, Teddy loses control of the car and he's trying to get it, but the wheel is gone. Like the power steering is gone out of the car. And they hit a tree. And we all know what happens after that. Now, many had their suspicions. Many had their doubts about what would actually happen. As many people would see over the years, they would suspect that, this was it. You know, they kind of claimed that this was never the intentions of the people there, but Teddy served out the rest of his remaining contract with Philadelphia International. And once he stayed, he recorded songs even after the accident before he went and moved to another record label with Asylum Records. Now, investigation had went into the crash to see was there any foul play, but they never could really prove anything definitively at that time because of the way the accident was and the results of the accident. They couldn't say if somebody just cut it or the brake line just went. It was just ruled an accident. Now, of course, it was the rumors that the chick head was, you know, in his lap and all that stuff. She would have been killed instantly if that was the case, But I remember hearing about that as a child. So, like my uncles, they were just like, "Come on, man, no, not Teddy, Teddy with the he she." So, that put a stain on his career for a little bit, but you know, people love Teddy, so it's just like songs he made were classic, and he showed you how to live after going through this tragedy. But a lot of people felt this was karma, for what happened to Taz, figuring that what happened to Taz was no accident. It was planned, it was orchestrated, and that same fire came back to get Teddy. So, gotta be careful what you wish for out there, people. Gotta be careful what you wish for, because you might get that wish, but then it might come back and take something. Make a deal with the devil. You never gotta hit it. You gotta remember, both sides gonna get some out of the deal. So, with that being said, I'm out. Hope I didn't take up too much of your time. And don't forget to subscribe to the page, hit the notification bell, all those good things. And we are out.